Repeating the basics is what actually works, the part that feels too simple to matter. There are things you already know how to do. Basic concepts, simple steps, routines you've seen before. And because they feel familiar, they don't feel important anymore. It almost feels like if something is basic, it can't be the reason for real progress. I've caught myself skipping over things like that, thinking I needed something more advanced to improve. Why we keep looking for something new, there's a constant pull toward doing something different. A new method, a better strategy, a faster way. It feels like progress should come from upgrading what you're doing. This is interesting because it makes the basics feel like a starting point you're supposed to move past, not return to. When complexity starts to slow you down, at some point adding more complexity stops helping. You try to manage too many steps, too many ideas, too many changes at once. It looks like effort, but it becomes harder to maintain. And when something doesn't work, instead of going back to basics, it's easy to assume you need something even more advanced. A situation that feels familiar. I've seen this with studying. When something doesn't make sense, the instinct is to look for a more complicated explanation. But sometimes going back to the basic concept makes everything clearer. Not instantly, but enough to rebuild understanding step by step. Why repetition feels unproductive. Repeating the same thing can feel like you're not moving forward. It doesn't feel like progress because nothing is new. But this raises a question. Is progress always supposed to feel new, or is it supposed to feel more stable? What repetition actually does. When you repeat something, you don't just remember it, you refine it. Small mistakes get corrected. Your understanding becomes more precise. The process becomes smoother. That change is gradual, which is why it's easy to miss. Why basics build everything else. More advanced ideas depend on basic ones. If the foundation is not clear, adding more layers makes everything less stable. But if the basics are strong, everything built on top of them becomes easier to manage. That connection becomes obvious only after you experience both. The difference you notice over time, when you stick with the basics long enough, something shifts. Tasks that felt difficult start to feel automatic. You don't have to think through every step. That ease is not from doing something new. It's from repeating something enough times that it becomes natural. Final thoughts. Repeating the basics does not feel impressive, but it is what actually works over time. Progress is not always about adding more. Sometimes it is about going deeper into what you already know. And once you see how much improvement comes from repetition, it becomes harder to overlook the value of doing simple things consistently. Thanks for watching.